You're searching for answers, waiting for someone to patch up those wounds and tell you everything's going to be okay. But let me guess, it's them, right? The same ones who caused those scars in the first place? The ones who laughed while you bled? You're still waiting for an apology, aren't you? A simple, hollow apology. Funny thing, isn't it? A few pathetic words meant to bind up your pain, to tell you to forget that it ever happened. But let me tell you something raw, something real. Their apology means nothing when you've already moved on. Not a damn thing. You see, people don't change. They might put on a new mask, pretend to be someone else for a while, but underneath, they're still the same selfish, spineless cowards who tore you apart. Let me paint a picture for you. You're standing in the wreckage of your life, ashes falling like snow, and then they come crawling back. They look you in the eye, tears streaming down their faces, whispering, "I'm sorry." But where were they when you were drowning in silence? Where were they when you were screaming into the void, hoping for someone, anyone, to notice? Nowhere. And you think their words can undo that? You think an apology can stitch together a shredded soul? Number? That's not how it works. The world doesn't work like that. You can't pour water back into a broken glass and expect it to hold. Once it's shattered, it's done. And that's what they did to you. They shattered you. They turned your trust to dust, your hope into a joke. And now they want forgiveness. Forgiveness is for the weak. It's for people too afraid to face the truth, too afraid to admit that not everyone deserves a second chance. Here's a little secret they don't want you to know. You don't need their apology. You don't need their guilt, their regret, or their fake tears. What you need is to rise from the ashes, to stand tall, look them in the eye, and say, "I don't need you anymore." The moment you move on, the moment you turn your pain into power, their words lose all meaning. Their apologies become nothing more than echoes in the wind. And that terrifies them. They don't want you to move on. They want you to stay broken, to keep waiting for them. As long as you wait, they still have control. But the second you let go, the second you realize that their opinions, their validation, their apology mean nothing, that's when you win. That's when you take back your power. Moving on isn't easy. It's a war against every memory, every ghost, every whisper of what if. But wars aren't won by sitting still. They're won by fighting, by pushing forward, by refusing to let the enemy define you. And make no mistake, they are the enemy. Their betrayal, their lies, their indifference. That's your battlefield. And you're the warrior. Do you know what warriors do? They don't wait for permission to heal. They don't wait for someone to hand them closure. They take it. They carve it out with their bare hands if they have to. And when the dust settles, when the smoke clears, they stand there, battered, bruised, but unbroken. That's what you're going to do. You're going to take every ounce of pain they gave you and turn it into fuel. You're going to build a fire so bright that their shadows can't touch you anymore. And when they come crawling back, begging for forgiveness, you won't need to say a word. Your silence will scream louder than any insult ever could, because by then, you'll have already moved on. You'll have already become someone so strong, so unshakable, that their apology will bounce off you like raindrops on steel. And that, my friend, is the ultimate revenge. Not anger, not hatred, but indifference. To look at them and feel nothing. To know that they no longer have any power over you. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Their apology is nothing but a band-aid for a wound that's already healed. The only thing that matters now is you, your strength, your future, your freedom. The past is dead. Leave it there. Move on, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Their apology will mean nothing when you've already moved on. And when that day comes, you won't even look back. You think the hardest part was them walking away? Oh, no, no. The hardest part is realizing they were never there to begin with. They were just ghosts, shadows of who you thought they were. And you gave them everything. Your time, your trust, your love. Everything. And they threw it all away like it was nothing. But here's the cruel twist, the sick joke. You kept waiting, hoping, thinking, maybe, just maybe, they'll come back and fix it all. But let me tell you something about hope. It's a liar. A cruel, twisted liar. Hope doesn't heal wounds. It keeps them open. It keeps you bleeding. It traps you in an endless loop of what-ifs. What if they didn't leave? What if they cared? What if they realized their mistake and came running back? Here's the truth. They won't. They won't come back for you. They'll come back for themselves, for their guilt, their ego, their need to feel like they're not the bad guy. You think their apology is for you? Number. It's for them. So they can sleep at night. So they can tell themselves, I tried. I did the right thing. But where was this righteousness when you were falling apart? Where was this guilt when they left you in the dark? Alone. Broken. Enough. Enough of this waiting. Enough of this hoping. Enough of clinging to the idea that they'll somehow make it right. They won't. And you? You're better than this. Better than them. Moving on isn't just about letting go of the past. It's about becoming something they'll never understand. It's about taking all that pain, all that anger, and turning it into power. You think they deserve your tears, your sleepless nights? Number. They don't even deserve your thoughts. Every second you spend thinking about them is a second stolen from yourself. And for what? For someone who didn't see your worth? Someone who treated you like an afterthought? Number. That ends today. Right now. You want to know how to move on? You don't wait for closure. You don't wait for their apology, their explanation, their pathetic attempts to make things right. You create your own closure. You take that pain and bury it so deep inside that it becomes fuel. Fuel to rise, to grow, to become unstoppable. Look at me. Look at me. You don't need them. You never did. They were a distraction, a detour on the road to who you're meant to be. And now you get to be free. Free from their lies, their manipulation, their poison. Do you know what freedom tastes like? It's bitter at first, hard to swallow. But then, it becomes sweet. It becomes the air in your lungs, the fire in your veins. And before you know it, you're running, soaring, leaving them so far behind that their apologies can't even reach you. Here's the thing they'll never tell you. People only apologize when they think they've lost you. Not because they've changed, not because they're better, but because they're scared. Scared of what? Scared of being forgotten. Scared of watching you become someone they can't touch, can't control, can't manipulate anymore. And that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to forget them. You're going to rise so high, burn so bright, that there'll be nothing but a faint shadow in the distance. And when they finally muster the courage to come crawling back, you won't even need to say a word. Your silence will be louder than any scream, more powerful than any revenge. That's the punchline, my friend. That's the grand joke. They thought they broke you, thought they could keep you down, keep you waiting. But the truth? The truth is, you were never waiting for them. You were waiting for yourself. For the moment, you'd finally realize you're stronger than they ever gave you credit for. And now you know. Now you see it. Their apology doesn't matter. Their regret doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you. What you do next. How you rise. How you move forward. Without ever looking back. Leave the past where it belongs. Burn it. Bury it. Forget it. Because their apology will mean nothing when you've already moved on. And when you do, when you finally take that step forward, you'll realize the truth. You never needed them. Not then. Not now. Not ever. Do you know why I'm still talking? Why I haven't let you walk out of here yet? Because I need you to hear this. Not just listen. Hear it. Feel it. Let it sink into your bones until it becomes part of you. You think you're the only one who's been through this? The only one who's been betrayed, left behind, used, discarded? Oh, please. This world thrives on betrayal. It breathes lies. It feeds on weakness. And people? People are the worst of them all. They smile in your face while sharpening the knife for your back. But here's the thing. You're not just anyone. You're not like them. You're not made of glass, ready to shatter at the slightest touch. You're steel. You're fire. And fire doesn't break. Fire burns. Fire consumes. And when you finally let that fire out, there's no going back. Do you know what they're afraid of? It's not your anger. Number anger they can handle. What they're really afraid of is this: you, unstoppable, unbreakable. A force that nothing, not even them, can touch. They're terrified of your indifference, your silence, because when you stop caring, when you stop letting them have the satisfaction of your pain, that's when you win. That's when you become untouchable. Let me tell you a story. Imagine a man standing at the edge of a cliff, broken, battered, on the verge of falling. Behind him are the people who pushed him there, watching, waiting, hoping he'll jump. Why? Because if he falls, they can avoid the guilt of what they've done. They can look at each other and say, "It wasn't our fault. He was weak." But he doesn't jump. He steps back, turns around, looks them in the eyes, and walks away. And you know what happens next? They crumble. They fall apart. Because their power over him, over his mind, his heart, is gone. He's free. That man could be you right now. You're standing at the edge, thinking maybe, just maybe, their apology will pull you back. But it won't. Their words are hollow. They're not meant to save you. They're meant to save themselves. So step away from the edge. Turn around. Walk away. And when they call out, when they beg, when they cry, don't even look back. Because the moment you do, the moment you entertain their nonsense, you give them power. And power is the only thing that matters in this world. Take back your power. Take back your life. Take every ounce of pain they gave you, every tear you cried, every sleepless night, and build something so strong, so unshakable, that their words, their actions, their very existence become irrelevant. But don't do it for revenge. No, revenge is cheap and fleeting. Do it for yourself. Do it because you deserve better. Do it because you are better. And when they see you thrive, when they see you standing tall, unbroken, untouchable, they'll know. They'll know they lost something they'll never get back. And that will be their punishment. Not your anger, not your hatred, but your success, your indifference. Because nothing hurts more than being forgotten by someone you thought would never let go. You're going to move on. Not because it's easy, not because it's painless, but because it's necessary. Staying here, waiting, hoping, that's not living, that's surviving. And you? You're meant for more than just survival. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to stand up, dust yourself off, and walk away. Not for them, not to prove a point, but for you. Because every step you take away from them is a step closer to freedom, to strength, to the life you deserve. And when the day comes, when they finally realize what they've lost, their apology won't mean anything. It'll be a whisper in a storm, a drop in the ocean. You won't need it. You won't even want it. Because by then, you'll have already moved on. And that, my friend, is the greatest punchline of all. You win. They lose. Not because you fought them, but because you stopped fighting for them. Oh, you thought I was finished, didn't you? Well, no. There's more. See, people like you, people who've been betrayed and broken, think once they hear the truth, it's over. But that's the trick. The illusion. The truth doesn't set you free. It chains you to reality. And reality? Oh, it's a cruel beast. Let me tell you something they don't teach you in those motivational books, or those cheesy quotes you cling to in the dead of night. Healing? It's not pretty. It's ugly. It's messy. It's crawling through the filth of your own despair, clawing at the walls of your own mind, fighting battles no one will ever see. And you're still waiting. Waiting for some sign, some closure, some grand moment where everything suddenly makes sense. But here's the punchline. That moment doesn't exist. Closure isn't given. It's taken. You rip it from the jaws of your own pain. You build it from the ruins they left behind. And you never, never look back. Do you know why their apology doesn't matter? Because it's not about you. It never was. It's about them. It's about their need to feel better, to absolve themselves of guilt. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry they got caught. They're sorry they have to face the consequences. You think they're losing sleep over you? Think again. While you're lying awake, replaying every word, every action, they're out there living their lives, unaffected. And you? You're stuck in a loop, a prisoner of your own mind. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? That's the joke. They're out there, free as a bird, while you carry the weight of what they did. And you think an apology will change that? You think their words will lift that weight off your shoulders? The only way to lift that weight is to let it go. Not for them, but for you. Because as long as you carry it, they win. They hold the power. And you? You're just a puppet dancing to the strings of your own pain. Let me ask you something. What's the worst they've done to you? Betrayed you? Lied to you? Left you when you needed them the most? Whatever it is, it doesn't define you. Their actions don't reflect your worth. They reflect who they are. Weak, selfish, pathetic. And you? You're still here, still breathing, still fighting. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you strong. They tried to break you, but here you are, standing in the ruins, refusing to fall. But strength isn't enough. Survival isn't enough. You have to thrive. You have to take every ounce of pain they gave you, every tear you cried, every sleepless night, and turn it into fuel. You have to become a force so unstoppable, so unshakable, that their actions become irrelevant. Do you know what happens when you move on, truly move on? They lose. They lose their hold over you, their place in your mind, their power over your life. And that terrifies them, because without your pain, without your anger, they're nothing, just ghosts in the shadows, forgotten and irrelevant. And when they come back, and they will, believe me, they'll come with their apologies, their excuses, their desperate attempts to make things right. But by then, you won't need their words. You won't need their validation. Because you'll have already found something far more valuable. Yourself. That's the secret, isn't it? The punchline? You don't need them. You never did. Everything you've been searching for, everything you've been waiting for, it's already inside you. The strength, the resilience, the power to move on. It's been there all along. You just have to see it. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Their apology will mean nothing when you've already moved on. And when that day comes, when you finally let go, you'll realize the truth. They weren't worth it. They were never worth it. The past is dead. Leave it there. Burn it. Bury it. Forget it. Because the future is yours, and no one can take that away from you. You thought it would be over when you moved on, didn't you? That the pain would just vanish, the scars would fade, and life would go back to normal. But here's the thing about scars. They don't disappear. They stay. They linger. A reminder of what you've been through, of what you've survived. And that's not a bad thing. Scars are proof. Proof that you fought, that you bled, that you survived when the odds were stacked against you. They're a map of your battles, your victories. So don't hide them. Don't be ashamed of them. Wear them like armor. Let the world see what you've been through, what you've overcome. You think moving on is about forgetting? About pretending it never happened? Wrong. Moving on is about remembering. Remembering every lesson, every mistake, every betrayal. Not to dwell on them, but to learn from them. To use them as fuel to become someone stronger, smarter, untouchable. But here's the catch. Moving on isn't a straight line. It's not some magical path where everything gets easier the further you go. It's a maze, a twisted, confusing maze, filled with dead ends and wrong turns. And you? You've been stuck at the entrance, afraid to take the first step, afraid of getting lost. But you can't stay there forever. Life doesn't wait for you to figure it out. It keeps moving, whether you move with it or not. And if you don't start walking, you'll be left behind, stuck, chained to the past while the world moves on without you. Do you know what the real joke is? The people who hurt you? They're not stuck. They're not waiting for your forgiveness, your approval, your permission to move on. They've already moved on. They've left you behind. And now they're out there, living their lives, forgetting you ever existed. And you're here, clinging to the hope that they'll come back, that they'll apologize, that they'll make it right. But let me tell you something. They won't. They won't. Because they don't care. They don't care about what they did to you, about how much they hurt you, about the scars they left behind. So why should you care about them? Why should you give them the satisfaction of holding on to the pain they caused? Why should you let them live rent-free in your head while you struggle to move forward? You want to know the secret to moving on? It's not about forgetting. It's not about forgiveness. It's about taking back control. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I don't need them. I never did. It's about realizing that you're stronger than they ever gave you credit for, that you're worth more than their lies, their betrayal, their empty promises, that you deserve better. And when you finally see that, when you finally take back your power, you'll understand the truth. Their apology doesn't matter. Their regret doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you, your strength, your resilience, your ability to rise above the ashes and build something better. But don't just move on. Transformation. Become someone they can't even recognize, someone they can't touch, someone they can't control. Become the person you were always meant to be. And when they see you, When they see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your step, they'll know. They'll know they lost something they'll never get back. They'll know they threw away someone extraordinary. And that will be their punishment. So stop waiting. Stop hoping. Their apology will mean nothing when you've already moved on. And when that day comes, when you finally let go, you'll realize the truth. You never needed them. Not then. Not now. Not ever. Now go. Burn the past. Leave it behind. And when they come crawling back, begging for forgiveness, let your silence be your answer. Let your strength be your revenge. Because you're not just moving on. You're rising. And no one can stop you.